A very good morning to our tutor, Ms. Liu. Today we are here to have presentations on the financial analysis of ProHub Construction Company Sembawang. Allow me to introduce my teammates and representative tasks on this presentation. Firstly, Dylan Huari will take part in the introduction, the breakdown, and the physical activity of the company. Second, we got Chi Yong to talk about the major investment revenue and the cash flow of the company. Thirdly, we got Daniel, which function to talk about the financial ratio and the free cash flow between 2016 to 2020 of the performance of the company. Fourthly, we got Jin Hong to talk about the trend analysis of the company. Last but not least, we got Kenneth to talk about the strength and weakness of the company and also the conclusion. First of all, ProHub Construction Company is an investment holding company. The company is engaged in foundation engineering, civil engineering, construction engineering, contracting, and providing the management service for subordinate company. Construction is the main field for ProHub Construction Company, which has rich experience and the company's field of expertise in constructions. From the construction projects, the company professional works constant cross monitoring by follow-up works, progress through on-site and off-site management teams to ensure the successful completion of each project. Currently, the construction business model of the company is focused on the project management and provide the technical expertise. The group stabilized in early 2012 as part of corporate transformation programs. Since then, ProHub has searched for suitable construction projects and resumed the construction activity. In order to resume back the ProHub's construction activity, the new management teams adopts a conservative approach to clearly define and manage the risk of the project through the strong internal control and transparent process. Talking about the current state of construction industry, since COVID-19 pandemic was declared by World Health Organization (WHO), Malaysia announced the Movement Control Order (MCO) due to increasing of the COVID-19 cases. These decisions affects the construction industry, the main engine of the growth of the country, shut down completely. All developments and projects has been proposed until further notice. The study found that the most significant impacts of COVID-19 projects is project suspensions, the workforce impacts, the time overruns, and the cost overruns. However, Malaysian government start to national recovery plan. A lot of people resumes back into works, both online and offline. That is going to have a benefit on a GDP growth of the country, particularly to constructions. The recovery of construction is the most important contributor to the country GDP growth. So the Malaysian government was quick to allow construction to go ahead in and attempts to the country recovery. That's all for my part. And now I will pass the floor to Chi Yong, talks about the major investment and revenues and the cash flows between 2016 to 2020 on ProHub's construction company performance. Thank you.
Good afternoon to lecturer and thanks to Dylan Cheong for elaborating in our introduction, company background, company principal activities, and current state of construction industry. And now I will continue to share the next part, which are the main investment, revenue, and cash flow in the ProHub company. So according to the Appendix C analysis, the main revenue of the ProHub, it can be distributed into four segments, which are construction, property development, building materials, and others. So as shown in this graph, in the year of 2018, the main revenue or the income money is coming from the construction, which contain about 43.57%, and the second is the property development, contain of 38.43%. And however, in the year of 2019 and 2020, ProHub Construction Company has started to change the way to get more revenue. So based on the annual report of the main revenue, the property development is done about 60.63% in 2019 and 70.40% in 2020 of the whole revenue. It's more than construction, which only spent about 31.67% in 2019 and 20.26% in 2020. Moreover, the building material and other statements are not a major revenue. Building material are only spent about 17.72% in 2018, 7.56% in 2019, and 8.29% in 2020. And other segments are only contain 0.28% in 2018, 0.14% in 2019, and 1.05% in 2020. So next is major investment. In the year of 2020, the major investment is civil and engineering contract company, which is near the Science Center. In the year of 2018 and 2019, the major investment is Golden Works in Berhad, and another investment in Incheck Corporate in Berhad and Johor, Ho-Hub ICM Quarries Neighborhood in Tabunani and Terengganu Breakwater Rehabilitation Works and Yong Heng Seminamat Highway also have the investment of the Ho-Hub Construction Company. Investment in mixed development joint venture with Koperasi Sebangsara Makmur Berhad, which is also called as COSMA, with the hotel, apartment, and office investment. And then next, there are two major funding in the company in 2020, which are the share capital and bank loan. In the year of 2019, Ho-Hub sell a new ordinary share of 37 million at the price of 46 cents per share. In the year of 2020, Ho-Hub also received funding for bank loan, including a secured term loan for 63 million and 2019 about 55 million. The term loan carried the annual interest rate of 12%, which are also same as in. So next is the cash flow. From Appendix A on the 1.3 and 1.3.1, we found that cash flow of the Ho-Hub construction for 2016 to 2020 has gone up. First, in 2016, the major cash flow is from operating financing, which is for the receivable with an outflow of negative 51 million. Amount due from customer with an outflow of negative 36 million, and drawn down and bringing loan with a flow of 37 million. Next, in the year of 2017, the drawn down bringing the loan 94 million is able to cover the outflow operating and investing, which are received about negative 108 million. Then in the year of 2018, net cash from operating activities about 17 million and cash generated from operation, which are 27 million, became positive after 2 years. Next, Ho-Hub investment on purchase of property, plant, equipment are contained about negative 4 million and subsidiary companies about negative 2 million. Then it takes a drawn down to bring a loan of 14 million. Next, in the year of 2019, the net cash flow from operating activities increased about 28 million. And in the year of 2019, net cash from investing activity in the value is about 54 million. As for net cash, it has an inflow of 28 million. Therefore, operating and investing are able to cover cash flow and hence there are no drawback for bringing loans. And lastly, in the year of 2020, the net repayment in investing are up to the 421 million. And in a subsidiary company, negative 46 million was above average. Then net cash flow from operating is unable to cover and you need to draw bringing loan, which is 75 million to cover the investment activities. Hence, the net cash and cash equivalent are brought about negative 7 million. And I will pass to Daniel for the free cash flow elaboration. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Lee Ji-Yong. Now I will talk about the free cash flow. Free cash flow tells us on how much cash a company has left over after paying its operating expenses and maintaining its capital expenditures. In short, how much money it has left after paying the cost to run its business. Based on the financial performance, we can see that from year 2016 to year 2020, Ho-Hub Construction Company has a huge increase in their company free cash flow. There are total 885.33% increases in company free cash flow from year 2016 to year 2020. This information shows that the Ho-Hub Construction Company able to earn more profit after paying operating expenses and maintaining its capital expenditures as compared to year 2016. Now I will talk about liquidity ratio. Liquidity ratio shows the relationship of company asset to its current liability. We choose to use the current ratio as it shows the ability of a company to pay off debt with its asset. Based on financial performance, the current ratio of Ho-Hub Construction Company had increased from 2.57 times in 2016 to 2.71 in year 2017, and then decreased from 2.148 in 2018 to 1.93 in 2019 and 1.37 in 2020. This shows that Ho-Hub Construction Company had become a weaker and more dangerous liquidity position. Besides, the quick ratio also helps to measure a company's ability to pay off short-term obligations without relying on the sales of inventories. Plus, based on the finance performance, the quick ratio of Ho-Hub Construction Company decreased from 0.84 times in year 2016 to 0.78 times in year 2017 and 0.32 times in year 2018, and then increased to 0.74 in 2019 and decreased again to 0.73 times in 2020. This shows that whole hub construction company may has a weaker ability to pay for the short-term debts. Next, I will talk about the efficiency ratio. Efficiency ratio are measurement for evaluating a company capacity to efficiently utilize its resource, such as capital and asset. To generate revenue, the ratio are used to compare expenses to revenue generated efficiently, indicating how much revenue or profit a firm can generate from the money it spent to run its business. For inventory turnover, this ratio is to measure how efficiency a firm is using its asset in generating sales. Based on the finance performance, we can see that Ho Hub Construction Company reduced the construction inventory turnover ratio from 0.701 times to 0.18 times. Okay, next, in terms of account receivable, the words average collection periods refer to the times it takes for a business to obtain payment owed by its customer. The average collection period is used by business to ensure that they have enough cash on hand to meet their finance obligation. During the year 2020, there's highest ratio appear, which is 445.82. Next, I will talk about the capital structure ratio. The debt ratio is defined as the decimal or percentage ratio of total debt to total asset. It's referred to the percentage of a company asset that are financed through debt. Based on the finance performance, there's an increase of total 24.41 debt ratio in year 2020, which is 62.38% as compared to 2016, 37.97%. This shows that Ho Hub Construction Company has a poor management of debt. Next, gearing ratio. Gearing ratio that compares some sort of owner equity to debt or cash borrowed by the company are known as gearing ratio. The higher the ratio, the higher the risk to the company. Based on the finance performance, we can see that the gearing ratio is actually reduced from 7% to 5.49%. But during the year of 2017, Ho Hub Construction Company hit the highest gearing ratio, which is 24.97%, which means that during that year, Ho Hub Construction Company has the higher risk. Next is time interest ratio. The time interest ratio is a measure of a company capacity to meet debt commitment based on current income. In year 2016, the time interest earned ratio is 11.895 times. On year 2020, the time interest earned ratio has dropped to 1.22 times. These results show that the Ho Hub Construction Company appear to have a little bit difficult servicing its debt. Next, I will talk about the profitable ratio. Analysis use gross profit margin to measure a company finance health by estimating the amount of money left over after subtracting the cost of goods sold from product sales. Based on the finance performance, we can tell that there is a decrease from 12.4% to 7.58% during the year of 2016 to 2020. A decrease in the gross profit margin percentage may indicate that the Ho Hub Construction Company is in a position to exploit the market and change lower price for its product. Okay, next is operating profit. Operating profit shows a company ability to manage its indirect costs. Therefore, this section of the income statement shows how a company is investing in areas it expects will help to improve its brand and business growth through several channels. As referred to the finance performance, we can see that there is a decrease from 36.51% to 7.99% during the year of 2016 to 2020. Next is the net profit margin. The net profit margin refers to the amount of profit that a company earns through sales. The reason we choose net profit margin is because it can be used for internal comparison for the same industry, which is extremely useful to see which company is most effective at converting sales into profit. Based on the finance performance, the net profit margin of Ho Hub Construction Company deteriorated from 33.43% to negative 8.37% from the year 2016 to 2020. Next is the asset turnover ratio. The asset turnover ratio measures the value of company sales or revenue relative to the value of asset. Based on finance performance, we can see that there is a decrease from 48.51% to 8.488% during the year of 2016 to 2020. The higher the asset turnover ratio, the more efficient a company is at generating revenue from its asset. Next is return on total asset. Return on total asset is a ratio that compare the earnings before interest and tax of a corporation to its total net asset. Based on finance performance, we can see that there is a drop from 17.71% to 1.07% during the year of 2016 to 2020. Next is return on common equity. Return on common equity is a finance ratio that can be used to assess a company profitability and capital efficiency based on the finance performance. We can see that there is a decrease from 22.4% to negative 1.6% during the year of 2016 to 2020. Lastly, I will talk about the shareholder ratio. Shareholder equity ratio indicates how much of a company's asset have been generated by issuing equity share rather than by taking on debts. Based on finance performance, we can clearly see that the ratio of earning per share has increased from 2016 to 2020, which increased from 0.042 ringgit per share to 0.22 ringgit per share. The result represents the amount of the asset of which shareholder have a residual claim. Lastly is the PE ratio. The profit earning ratio is the ratio for evaluating a company that measures its current share price related to its earning per share. Based on finance performance, we can clearly see that the PE ratio is decreased from 19.92 times to negative 21.36 times during the year of 2016 to 2020. Thank you very much. Now I have end my part. I will pass to Lim Jing Ho.
Thank you, Daniel, and good morning to Ms. Liu. I will talk about the trend analysis and the comparison between companies. So, first of all, the trend analysis. The trend analysis consists of 5 subtopics, which is liquidity ratio, efficiency ratio, capital structure ratio, profitability ratio, and shareholder ratio. First of all, liquidity ratio. According to Appendix D 1.2, the current ratio trend of Ho Hub have increased from 100% in 2016 to 105% in 2017. And however, it started declining continuously to 53% in 2020. Then under liquidity ratio, the trend of quick ratio of Ho Hub dropped from 100% in 2016 to 38% in 2018. Then it got a sudden increase of 88% in 2019 and remained at 86% in 2020. Next, for the efficiency ratio. The trend of inventory turnover Ho Hub remained continuously decreased from 100% in 2016 to 51% in 2018. Then raised to 68% in 2019, but it started decline back to 25% in 2020. And the trend of average collection period of Ho Hub increased from 100% to 324% in 2018. Then it dropped to 285% in 2019. However, it raised back to a huge amount of 828% in 2020. And then the capital structure ratio. The trend of debt ratio of Ho Hub increased from 100% in 2016 to 128% in 2018. Then dropped a few back to 121% in 2019 and got a sudden increase in 2020, which is 164%. Then for the trend of gearing ratio trend of Ho Hub increased a lot from 100% to 356%, but however it started to decline to 78% in 2020. Then for the trend of time interest earned of Ho Hub decreased from 100% to 11.40%. Then it raised a little bit to 13% in 2019. And unfortunately, it also decreased in 2020 to 6.52%. Then next for the profitability ratio. The trend of gross profit margin of Ho Hub decreased from 100 to 27% in 2018. Then it got raised to 83%. However, it decreased notably in 2020, which is 61%. Then next for the trend of operating ratio margin, Ho Hub decreased from 100% to 14% in 2019. However, it still got a little bit raised to 21% in 2020. Then the trend of net profit margin of Ho Hub from 100% in 2016 to 26% in 2017 and declined negatively in 2020, which is negative 25%. Then for the trend of total assets turnover, decreased from 100% to 66.75%. Then it increased to 6,843% in 2019. However, by 2020, it's only got back to 1,749%. Then for the trend of return on total assets, decreased from 100% to 22% in 2018 and dropped further in 2020. It only got 6%. Lastly, for the trend of return on common equity Ho Hub, decreased from 100% to 2% only in 2019. Then got a little bit notability raised to 7% in 2020. Then for the shareholder ratio, the trend of earning per share EPS increased from 100 to 243% in 2017, then continued decline back to 52% in 2020. Then for the trend of price earning PE decreased from 100 to 21% in 2018. However, it got a sudden increase to 309% in 2019, and unfortunately, in 2020 it dropped back to 109%. Now for the trend analysis of company comparison. As for the comparison, we pick UEM Sunrise Company as our competitor. According to Appendix E1.1, in 2020, UEM Company have a revenue of 1.2 billion. As for Ho Hub, they have a revenue of only have 60 million, and the difference between these two is 1 billion more. The net income or profit for the Ho Hub in 2020 is negative 5 million. However, as for UEM, it got 200 million. This means that UEM make profit compared to Ho Hub, where it got a loss of 5 million. However, if you compare using the net profit margin, UEM actually have a higher negative value of net profit margin, which is negative 17%. And for Ho Hub, it only got a net profit margin of negative 8%, which means Ho Hub actually done better. And as for the earning per share, EPS of Ho Hub in 2020, it have a value of 0.22, and for UEM, it got a negative value, which is negative 5.84. Next, for the return on equity, it get negative 1.6%, and the price earning is negative 21%. And as for UEM, the ROE is negative 3%, and PE is negative 7.55%. So, in summary, or in my opinion, the better company I will pick is that UEM Sunrise, because it actually can generate more revenue, which means that normal people, us, we actually wanted to invest on UEM Sunrise and not for Ho Hub. And this means that if we can earn this much revenue, if we can control the cost of it, we can actually get better earning. Thank you, and I will now pass to Kyle to talk about strength, weakness, and conclusion. Thank you.
Thank you, Jin Hong, to talk about the trend analysis. Good afternoon, Ms. Teo. My name is Khoo Kai Eun. Now I will present about recommendation for further investigation of the financial strength and weakness of the company. In the financial report, Ho Hub Company offer a comprehensive summary of the firm operation. In fact, the report from Ho Hub Company allow other competitors to compare the two companies directly. SWOT analysis for Ho Hub Company is recommended to investigate the company financial strength and weakness. The basic goal of SWOT analysis is to help firm truly understand all of the factors that influence decision making. And the SWOT analysis will summarize the company's strength, weakness, opportunity, risk, and potential threat. It helps to define the firm objective and develop the many aspects that are beneficial and helpful to achieving the goal. The income statement and ratio table, as well as the balance sheet and cash flow by year and quarter, will be included in the financial analysis of Ho Hub Company. This report demonstrates that it describes the key financial ratio for profitability, excess turnover, and profit margin analysis, as well as assisting and training the company decision-making process. Besides that, the unique analysis of financial ratio aid providing precision information about internal and external variables affecting sector. The report can also include some significant news and enable different specialists and market research firms to provide annual and quarterly prediction. Ho Hub Company can use this data to better understand trend in the construction industry. So, to sum up our presentation, Ho Hub Company revenue in financial year end of 2019 is at highest in the last 5 years, but it has the less profit in 2018. The current ratio of Ho Hub Company may be considered an excellent current ratio because it has been over 1.2 until 2 for the last 5 years. But eventually, turnover in the previous 5 years was not good because it did not reach 5 until 10. Ho Hub Company borrowing money will be deemed preferable because this ratio has averaged 48.77%. The firm was not in dangerous zone because dividend yield was 0. Okay, that brings us to the end of our presentation. So I just like to thanks for your listening and attention. Thank you.